Hello Commanders, this is Marco here, and today I want to talk about the Mycoid virus and the conspiracy behind it. There's a Reddit post that inspired me to make this video. I'll leave a link in the description down below. But for now, put your tinfoil hats on because this rabbit hole is about to go even deeper. Most of you probably have already seen the INRA bases and listened to their logs, but for people who don't know what INRA is, INRA stands for Intergalactic Naval Reserve Arm. They are pretty much the people who, during the First War, tried to do something about the Thargoids. They're the ones who worked on the weapons and such. They were disbanded about 100 years ago, and we never heard of them again. But now we're starting to find more and more of their old bases with logs in them, and we can listen to those logs. So that's what I want to do. I want to listen to the most important ones, and I want to go a bit deeper into them. So let's do that. Our first logs are from technology testing.
Our employers have become preoccupied with one of the research projects. Although I've repeatedly told them it's a dead end. It isn't even an official project. It's just something that one of the junior researchers cooked up in his spare time. He's a specialist in agricultural science, trying to wipe out famine or something. Apparently, he's created a biological agent that incapacitates the alien technology. Here we are, devoting millions of credits and countless hours to understanding this technology, and he is trying to destroy it. If it were up to me, I'd cut him from the project entirely. But our employers seem to think his work has merit.
Here we can see that the Mycoid virus was discovered by accident. Even though the woman disagrees, somebody higher up is still showing interest in the whole project. Next are the whistleblower logs.
I'm sorry for the part I've played in this. Truly. I was a researcher at a facility in the Hermitage 4A system exploring agricultural applications of Thargoid-derived technology. The lab was owned by the INRA. Publicly, the INRA likes to emphasize the whole altruistic cooperative thing, but in recent years it's become much more focused on weapons testing and manufacture. Believe me, it's a military contractor in all but name. All my equipment and samples were whisked off to some remote facility. Later I found out I'd been taken to a weapons testing site in the Alnath A2AA system. My research was used as the basis of a new superweapon designed to destroy the Thargoids. I heard they experimented on live captives. I doubt any of it was strictly legal. It certainly wasn't ethical. To the public, the INRA is a symbol of all that is possible when superpowers set aside the differences and work together. Well, it might have started off like that, but it's something very different now. Progress at any cost. Might makes right. All our worst impulses channeled into an unaccountable organization focused solely on making bigger and more powerful weapons. Bigger and more powerful weapons. God. If you find this, if someone finds this, make sure it gets out. Please. It's time people knew the truth.
And now we've learned that his little accident is getting weaponized, and he's feeling bad about it. Now we move on to the history logs. These are the more interesting ones.
We have built a dedicated new laboratory so we can properly test the effects of the Mycoid. We also have access to an intact Thargoid ship and a living specimen. I plan to test the Mycoid on both. Some of my colleagues have expressed reservations about experimenting on a living creature, but I have no such qualms. We must know what the Mycoid can do. Excellent news. We have received a second specimen. We can now accelerate the pace of our testing. So far, our experiments indicate that the fungus affects not only the Thargoids' technology, but also their physiology, as evidenced by the degeneration of our specimen. These results are highly encouraging. If the Mycoid can hurt them, truly hurt them, we may have found the means to win this war. Several of my colleagues have left the project in protest over our treatment of the creature. If it were up to me, I would have them executed as traitors. Our latest tests were extremely successful. The Mycoid can paralyze a Thargoid system, either physical or technological, in a matter of seconds. It is extremely effective. I confess, the knowledge that the Mycoid causes the Thargoids physical pain brings me some measure of satisfaction. But when one has seen firsthand the effect of their weapons, seen the destruction, the chaos, the bodies, can one be blamed for wanting them to suffer as we have?
Now I have two questions. How do they capture a live specimen? And how do they use the actual Mycoid? Is it like a bomb or something that explodes? Do they fire some bullets sprinkled with Mycoid or whatnot? I don't know. How do they do it? Next log is called Project Mycoid.
I understand that this is a lucrative contract, but I really think we need to take a second look at the production schedule. We have neither the facilities nor the workforce to deliver what's been promised. Furthermore, the facility should be subjected to a complete decontamination before we start. That could take weeks. Essentially, we can't produce the chemicals in the quantity requested within the given time frame. It just can't be done. I'd also like to renew my request for more information on the purpose of the chemical.
Now here is one of the employers arguing that they simply won't have enough time to produce enough amount of the material. Even though it happened a long time ago, think about it. They somehow had to produce it. Maybe they had to grow it or something? Now look at this. Back in 3302 we had a community goal for Alliance to build a base in California Nebula. We succeeded, and that was it. That was pretty much all that we heard of it. So I wanted to go and check it out for myself. I wanted to see what's so special about this base. What was the need to build one there? And as soon as I arrived, I noticed a field of fungal growth right outside the base. Here we can find 4 types of growths on these things. But as far as I see it, only one of them is actually interesting. Now before we proceed, I must warn you, if you're a pussy like me and you have arachnophobia, make sure you look away when I tell you to. I will count down and shit, but make sure you look away. Alright, here we go. I'm not sure about the pronunciation, so don't kill me because of this in the comments. Anyway, one of the growths that you can find here is Cordyceps. And according to Wikipedia, and I quote, it says all Cordyceps species are endoparasitoids, parasitic mainly on insects and other arthropods. So basically just like Thargoids, right? So think about it, of all the things that they could be growing outside the base, outside an Alliance base, they're growing this. So now you're thinking, okay, it's a parasite for insects, but what'd it do? Well, remember how I told you if you don't like such things to look away? Make sure you look away now. And here's a picture of a spider that was affected by this shit. Picture coming in 3, 2, 1, boom. Look at it, look how disgusting that looks. So that's what they're growing here. Alright, let's remove this shit. Now when we go to the commodities market to check out what they have in the supply, you notice that it's pretty much a shopping list for weaponizing a fungus. The only machinery they have is microbial furnaces, they have narcotics, medicine, technology section has most things, but no computer stuff. They have weapons. This has to be a bioweapons research facility. And if we look a bit further down the road, we find a different base, also Alliance, pretty much the same commodities, the same growths outside the base. Well, the growths are a bit different, but still, they have the same stuff on them. As you can see, these things look like pumpkins. The field is slightly bigger than the other one, but the stuff that grows on them, the fungus, is pretty much the same. Now, how I see it, we have one base that's called McTurner base and the other one is Mahon base. Pretty much both Alliance. McTurner, who is he? He's one of the founders of the Alliance. But again, Turner, where have we heard that name before in the game? We have an engineer, and in the last book we know that he has some Targoid tech. Targoid FSD drives, and we know that he got them from the First War somehow through the Alliance. Well, is McTurner related to the engineer, or did something happen there? Like, it doesn't add up. And now we have these fields, they're also linked to the Alliance. You see where I'm going with this? Final INRA logs, the vaccine.
It turns out they want us to make some kind of vaccine, an antidote for an unnamed biological weapon. They've given us samples and data, but whenever we press for more information, our requests are met with silence. We're working in the dark, with our hands tied behind our backs. In practical terms, we've got everything we need, but I have no idea where half of it comes from. They've given us material the weapon's been tested on, both organic and inorganic. Human and not human. I'm starting to wonder if the weapon's even designed to target humans. We've finally been given access to a sample of the weapon, and it's opened up all kinds of avenues. I still worry about the ease with which our benefactors acquired the samples, but I'm probably just being paranoid. They obviously have deep pockets. Having access to unlimited funds must open all kinds of doors. After months of research, the solution ended up being pretty simple. Once you break it down, it's a fairly straightforward organic compound. Little more than a fungus, really. We tested the vaccine on some of the older samples, and while it doesn't undo any existing damage, it does prevent the weapon from doing any further harm. Our sponsors certainly seem happy.
Here we get some proof that they in fact did do some research on human subjects. But apart from that, the actual log, INRA log, is called vaccine. Why would they need a vaccine? Like, if you look at the story, in previous Elite games, Alliance gave a vaccine to the Targoids and then they got a ship and all that, but apparently this story was retconned. But if it was, why do we see all these similarities? Like, vaccine. It literally leads me to that story that was retconned. So I'm not sure anymore what happened there. Alright, moving on. While I was reading the book called And Hear the Wheel, I was trying to figure out what year it was in the book, because INRA is involved and they talk about Soontil with all the Targoid relics on it and such. But there is no date. But I stumbled upon something Well, basically the book goes over a pirate, Alliance spy, and INRA. So the spy and the pirate get captured by INRA, and the INRA admiral is all boasting about how he knows everything and such, and then he mentions that the Alliance spy was born in 3266. And what you have to know about her, she is elite combat rank twice. Yeah, she reached that rank twice. First it was legit, and then she went undercover, so she had to do it once more. So I believe the book plays out in our timeline, or right before 3301. Well, that's what I think. And because of this, I think that INRA is still active. I don't know if you remember, but the first Thargoid structures were found because of a few listening posts. And I remember there was one listening post in particular that I found very interesting. Let me show you. Notice how it says trace levels of M particles detected. So are they saying that this damage on Thargoid structures is because of the Mycoid virus? Wouldn't you agree that it kinda looks the same as this?
I mean, this is a civilian megaship, yeah, it's not a...
Because let's get the facts straight here. Some of us already fought the Thargoid, and the only time when you see that same type of damage on your ship is after the Thargoid has died and after you flew into that cloud. Also, we've never seen it attack while unprovoked. It only attacks you if you get too close or if you provoke it. So let's pretend that it is the Thargoids attacking, the ones that we see now, the Orestrians. Why would they attack? Or how do you know of the attacks? We know it because Aegis, they tell it to us. But if you look at these logs right here, they tell us that the ships had something on board. Maybe that's what aggroed them. That's what made them angry. If they attacked, of course. Maybe it was the Klaxians. Or maybe those ships were carrying some type of Mycoid virus, because as we can see from the listening posts, there's still some people looking at it, there's still some research going on, and with those fields everywhere, there's just a lot of activity going on around this, with Aegis, Alliance, and some unknown groups. So all I want to say is pretty much, let's summarize this. There's INRA, by accident they discover a virus, they use it on Thargoids, they supposedly disappear, but I just proved that they didn't. Then we have a community goal to build Alliance base, a research base. Right outside the base we have this fungus growing that works horribly on insects. Eventually we've proven that they've tried using the Mycoid virus on humans. And what is this? We see destroyed capital ships or mega ships everywhere, but keep in mind, we've never seen current Thargoids attack those. You've never seen it happen live. Ever. So maybe this is just a test. And since I've spoiled a few important parts of the book already, let me do it again. In the book there is a weapon called Starburst. It's been controlled by 5 Imperial explorers. They fire at the same time. The weapon somehow links. It's like a blue-gray beam of... It's like beam laser, but it's like really huge. And it sliced an Imperial capital ship in 2 with just one shot. And that's the same weapon that they use to destroy planet Soontil, with all the Thargoid stuff on it. So I believe we will also see some of that later in the game. I know there's a lot of speculation in this video, but I tried to back everything up as best as I could, with the stuff that I know from the books and the stuff that we found in game. Anyway, let me know what you think, because I like making this type of videos, so maybe I'll make a few more, we'll see. But until then, if you legit enjoyed this video, please leave a like, make sure to subscribe to stay up to date with our upcoming videos, and take care.